Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more fighting. Make sure you smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing, MMA. You know, I mix it up and I talk about the two fighting combat sports predominantly on the channel. Now, thank you guys for the donations you guys left on the channel. Everything's going good, and I gotta talk about this because this was a good watch for me. I enjoyed it. Now, the thing is, with me as a person, just a little backstory. I'm an Aries. If you look at historically, a lot of Aries are natural born leaders. With that being said, I consider myself to be a natural born leader, meaning I don't necessarily do what others are doing or wait for someone else to move. If it feels right to me, then I go for it. You know what I mean? I go after it. That's just what it is. So when I see that with other people, when they speak up, when they don't hold back, right? And I get it. Like on my channel, I say I get everything I ever want off of my chest. I do it in a respectful way because I mean, these are, at the end of the day, these are athletes and entertainers here to entertain me. But I still say what I need to say, and I appreciate and commend other people that do the same thing. And when I see that, I gotta give credit. So now I know some people are gonna get mad because we live in a society that is super PC. I'm not from this generation like that. I feel like I'm an old soul. I don't believe in everything has to be so PC. If someone says something, it's not even over the top, and people get mad and all these like rights groups and stuff like come up. Oh, he said this and like, I don't know. It's just, we live in such a PC. Someone told me, I made a video, like here's an example just to give you guys, and it's funny because the same person that I'm talking about, or actually reporting about what was said, people accuse me. So I did a video about Ronda Rousey and I said shocking weight gain. Right? The video blew up and the video went viral, over 1 million views. I don't even know where it's at. I don't check it daily or anything, but the video's still up on YouTube. I did not say one thing like really crazy about Ronda Rousey. I didn't say, oh, I wasn't name calling. I wasn't doing anything. I was merely making an observation how after she lost to Holly Holm, she was called in to do some kind of promo work or video game. I think it was with Vice Sports, and I was commenting on her gaining weight. I said she gained weight from the last time I seen. I wonder what this is, but I didn't say, like, you know what I mean? I didn't attack her character. I wasn't calling her names, and there were articles written about me calling me a body shamer. Like, what? I didn't even say nothing about this girl. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't care. You guys call me whatever you want. It don't stop my bank account from growing. But Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, he just did an interview with Sports Illustrated now, SIN, right? And the flyweight champ had some stuff to say, and it was a really good watch. Link is in the description in case you want to watch it or listen. They have some of it is in written form. Some of it is a video, right? And he brought up some really good points with the UFC, man. And I want to read a direct quote of what he said and kind of expand on some more things he said and just give my take on it as well. They asked, the question was, that's an interesting way to look at it. If you say it means the world to you, are you setting yourself up for potential disappointment or failure? And he said, yeah, absolutely. They were talking about losing. And he says, you know, people say I visualize myself at this point. I visualize myself losing most of the time because I've seen so many champions lose and they don't know how to take it. Their whole world is upside down. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You look at Ronda Rousey, you got your ass beat. Grow the fuck up. It happens. It's mixed martial arts. I don't want to be like that, but if I lose, I'll be like, I lost, right? And then she says, with Ronda Rousey, someone should just sit her down and say, look, everyone in the sport has tasted defeat. And Demetrious Johnson said, yeah, everybody has. Everybody fucking loses. It's part of the sport. Grow up. look, Ronda, you lost 2 fucking fights in a row and you made more fucking money than the woman's entire roster. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Right? And I was like, okay, I'm glad people are speaking their mind. And it's so funny and it's so ironic because when I do videos, I'm the bad guy, I'm the villain. I feel like Scarface at times. Huh? Okay. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say that's the bad guy. Right? I'm the bad guy. I make a video. I told you that to me, Ronda Rousey seemed mentally weak, right? When it comes to judo, she's a phenom. But the way she took her losses and took her lumps and took her L's, I was not a fan of as a fan of fighting combat sports, because fighters are typically ferocious. Like Johnson is saying, many a fighter have tasted the canvas, been knocked out, sometimes even worse than that. You know what I mean? Worse than what Ronda Rousey. She got knocked out bad, but by Holly Holm and also Nunes. But I've seen people get stretched worse than that. You know what I mean? Bloodied up and get knocked out, or you know what I mean? Passed out. You know what I mean? Holly Holm got choked out by Miesha Tate and she just passed out. Right? I've seen people get knocked out brutally with spinning back fists and hammer fists. It's just it's part of mixed martial arts. You have to have multiple skills to counteract what your opponent's doing. And I don't like the way she conducted herself, refusing to do interviews leading up to the Nunes fight. Like you disappeared for a year and went into hiding with your boyfriend Travis Brown or whatever, and now you come back and you make this big fuss and get granted an exemption, even though Conor McGregor wanted the same thing after he lost, and he didn't even lose as bad as Ronda Rousey lost when she got knocked out by Holly Holm, right? And Conor McGregor said, hey, I'm in Iceland. I just want to focus on beating Nate Diaz. Dana White says, you're off the card. We need you to promote. It's non-negotiable, right? If you can't promote the card, we need you. We need your mouthpiece. Pause. We need you to promote. And if you're not down to do that, then I got to take you off UFC 200 or whatever UFC it was. And that's what they did. They took him off UFC 199, 200, whatever it was. And then they later made the rematch when he was down to promote. Ronda Rousey comes back after a knockout to Holly Holm. Same thing, same type of concept. And then Dana White and the UFC granted her a media blackout pass. So all she has to do is go to the weigh-in, right? And that's unfair. That's unfair. This is the type of stuff that Demetrious Johnson, and you have to listen to it, but this is the type of unfair treatment that he's talking about, where if you sell tickets or you're an A-side or whatever you want to call it, you're a cash cow for the company, they make these crazy exceptions. Now, beyond losing a fight and coming back and having to face the music and doing interviews, which is right, because you're a fighter. You take strikes and punches and kicks and have your arm contorted and twisted up and arm bars and all this. You do this for a living, right? But you can't take a reporter's question if they're asking you a reason. I understand if a reporter's asking you crazy, being disrespectful or something like that, but you can't deal with the media scrutiny. Like, hey, you were Superwoman, you got knocked out by Holly Holm. How do you bounce back? Those are legit questions. Again, if they have PR people working at all these fights. I haven't covered a UFC fight, but I'm sure it's the same way as covering boxing fights. They have PR people, and if there's a reporter who's chastising the fighter or overall ruining the press conference with crazy lines of questionings or something, they'll kick the reporter out. You know what I mean? Take their credentials and whatnot. But Ronda Rousey couldn't even come back or refused to come back and even do that. So you look even worse when you lost in 48 seconds to Amanda Nunes. That's my honest opinion, right? And you're being hard on Ronda Rousey. She's a legend. She can be a legend. But I can have an opinion too. My opinion is legendary. How about that? You know what I mean? So Johnson is right. They get granted special treatment. And it's not even just losing a fight and not wanting to deal with. You know how many fighters bust their ass in training camp and don't want to have media obligations? You know what I mean? Amanda Nunes, let's say she was in Brazil training for Ronda Rousey and she cut her weight, and Cyborg and all these people cut drastic amounts of weight to make these weights, and they have a killer training camp. Do you think they really want to, before the weigh-in, have a final press conference or speak to the media. They probably don't. They probably want to just rest up, eat light until the weigh-in, and relax with family and friends. And Amanda Nunes wants to relax with her girlfriend or something, you know what I mean, and just chill. But they don't have that same carte blanche. They don't have that same privilege. But Ronda Rousey, after being knocked out by Holly Holm, she did, because she didn't want to, and it just makes her look salty. So I agree with Demetrious Johnson, what he's saying, because there is a lot of unfair treatment. Now, Johnson also he covered a lot. He talked about unfair pay, and he's just saying it's crazy in the UFC. He said, I get good money, but in the grand scheme of things, when you really look at it, I'm not trying to create an issue. He said, me and Dana White are on good terms, but if you really look at it, you really think about it, it makes no sense that people in the division, in your division, who aren't champions, get way bigger purses and paychecks than people who are actual champions. Like, what's the point of ranking? What's the point of even having a title belt? You know what I mean? If you don't get the respect. And I agree with that too. You know what I mean? Within reason. Like, obviously Conor McGregor, people like that, I don't agree with everything the UFC was done, but he's making so much revenue for the company. I mean, obviously his purse is going to be good because he's generating a lot of interest in the UFC. But little things like Conor McGregor, that doesn't mean he's godlike. That doesn't mean that he should be able to have two belts simultaneously and not defend his featherweight belt because he's drawing so much attention to the sport and bringing in revenue, so he can do what other fighters would get stripped for and carry two belts, and he's only defending one against Nate Diaz twice, but his featherweight belt, all the guys at featherweight, you know what I mean, Jeremy Stevens or Frankie Edgar or Jose Aldo rematch, they gotta wait and fight each other, and they can't get their hands on that belt while he holds it hostage. That's not right either. But I agree with Demetrious Johnson, because the pay scale is so out of whack in the UFC. I mean, it's one thing that they had that little, took away their sponsorship stuff and made it exclusive to Reebok, but some of these pay scales get crazy. Listen to this, just case in point. And he didn't even, Demetrious Johnson, he brought up another example, but he didn't bring this up, but I'll bring it up for you guys. Ronda Rousey, she was the big bad wolf. She was one of the biggest faces in the UFC. She was doing movie deals, the Fast and the Furious 7 or whatever, Entourage. She got knocked out in an upset. It's not an upset to true fight fans who didn't think Ronda Rousey was invincible, but it was an upset given the circumstances. That year, ESPN gave her Fighter of the Year. Ronda Rousey had knocked out Betch Correa in one round, I think it was. So people didn't expect Holly Holm to pull an upset. But if you're a real fight fan, you knew that would be a difficult fight, especially for whatever reason, which is beyond me. Her and Edmund need to go back to the drawing board with the game planning. Why would you try to stand up with those last two opponents, Nunes and Holm? One's a lifelong boxer, and then the other one's a hell of a striker with power that just destroyed Miesha Tate in a different way than Ronda Rousey when she beat Miesha Tate. You know what I mean? Miesha Tate's nose didn't look broken when she fought Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? Her face wasn't leaking like when Miesha Tate fought Nunes. But anyway, you get knocked out in upset fashion, Ronda Rousey. Then you disappear from and live on an island, you know what I mean? Tom Hanks, Castaway, whatever. You talk to Ellen about feeling suicidal and things aren't going well and I should just quit and have Travis's baby. Okay, cool. Move beyond all of that. You come back, you take on a tall order, so I give credit to Ronda Rousey for coming back and not taking a tune-up fight and trying to get her belt back. I mean, she went up against someone who had been looking good, Amanda Nunes, and a dangerous style, which we found out how dangerous because Amanda Nunes beat her also by knockout, right? So Ronda Rousey comes back after all this time. In addition, like I said earlier in this video, elects and gets the permission from the UFC to not do the press tour stuff or the press conference and have a media blackout and only have to attend the fight and the weigh-in, unlike every other fighter and unlike people like Conor McGregor who wanted the same kind of exemption but couldn't get it, right? Ronda Rousey gets granted that. She still makes her purse for the fight with Nunes after being knocked out, not really even doing anything with the media for a year, and actually being mad at the media, like, oh, you okay? Oh, fear the return. You know what I mean? You guys counted me out. Fear the return. I'm okay not being perfect, right? and you come back and get knocked out again, but whatever. Her purse was $3 million. You know how much Amanda Nunes got? $100,000. And she was the champion. And she got a $100,000 win bonus. Whoopee. So she got a whopping $200,000 as champion to knock out Ronda Rousey. Now, if you're from the streets of Brazil, or, you know what I mean, to the everyday average person, $200,000, that's not a bad sum of money. You know what I mean? $200,000, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's more than what, like, a store manager at a, you know what I mean, like a JCPenney's might make, right? So the money is not bad itself, but you got to look at the risk. Amanda Nunes is risking her life. Ronda Rousey is risking her life. You know what I mean? Brain swelling, contusion. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen in the art of war, right? So they're risking something heavy. They're risking their name, reputation, stuff like that. So it's if they have, bottom line is this: if you have $3 million to give to Ronda Rousey for that fight as main event, then you have more money to give Amanda Nunes as champion. Point blank, period. Give Ronda Rousey, even if you gave her $2.5 million, 2.5, that's only $500,000. And Ronda Rousey was doing movie gigs and TV shows and all this, TV spots. So I'm sure the $500K wouldn't kill her, but the $500K being added to Amanda Nunes' already low purse, right? That would be wonders for someone like her. You know what I mean? She would get 150K if you added the 500 off the back end of Ronda Rousey's money. Gave her 150K plus 100,000 win bonus. Now she's up to 250K, which still ain't shit, but it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? It's better than what before. Or give, you know what I mean, give them 1.5 million a piece, right? Why can't you do that? If you have 3 million to give Ronda Rousey only, give them. Why is the champion getting dressed? Why is the champion win lose with the win is only getting 200K, and being knocked out in 48 seconds, Ronda Rousey is getting 3 million to get knocked out in 48 seconds? I could have lasted longer than that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about just with Amanda Nunes. I feel like I can last longer than 48 seconds with anybody in the UFC. You know what I mean? I could just evade them, just run around the cage and, you know what I mean, and throw punches just to last longer than that. So Demetrious Johnson, he hit the nail on the head, man. It is unfair. The example he brought up was Tyron Woodley. He said, my boy Tyron Woodley, right? He says Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, who weren't even welterweights, right? They have a welterweight fight last minute to replace Conor McGregor versus RDA, and they're both getting paid way more than the champion, Tyron Woodley, right? Crazy. And the other thing I noticed about the UFC is they put, just like boxing has it too, but the UFC, they put a lot more energy into certain stars. Like the UFC cares more about Brock Lesnar than Tyron Woodley. You know what I'm saying? Like Tyron Woodley, if you look at what he does well, look at his knockouts, the type of power he possesses, you can make an awesome commercial. You know, I'm an editor, so I know how this video editing game works. I could make, if they gave me all the archive footage of Tyron Woodley fights, I could make an awesome trailer, right, for his next fight. Tyron Woodley, UFC 300. Like, you know what I mean? I could do all that, right? But they put more emphasis in Brock Lesnar, who's clearly juicing and got caught for juicing after the fact. And he's a WWE star. So, I mean, I feel Demetrious Johnson, man. That's just what it is. The UFC, they're putting all the eggs into certain baskets, and then they have very talented fighters, and they're not even getting the level of exposure as other people. You know what I mean? Like Amanda Nunes, right? Okay, let's say she's a lesbian, but she could scrap. You know what I mean? And I understand she has her next fight and stuff like that, but ever since she beat Ronda Rousey in December, right? And I haven't really even heard of her until this rematch was announced with her, right? Yeah, I haven't really heard anything about her. Like, why doesn't UFC do a little documentary or something about Amanda Nunes and her story coming up to her dreams being realized and knocking out a legend in the sport like Ronda Rousey? You know what I'm saying? They didn't do nothing. They didn't do none of that type of stuff. So I feel Demetrious Johnson. And the thing is, like I said, people are going to get mad at this video, but you can't even, oh, Demetrious Johnson, he's just hating. Mighty Mouse has just tied Anderson Silva, a known UFC legend, for the amount of title defenses. He just had 10 consecutive successful title defenses. He needs one more, I think, to break or Anderson Silva's record or tie it or whatever, right? But that's a lot of title defenses. So I'm glad it was a person like that, because if it was like, I don't know, somebody who's like been losing a lot lately, you know what I mean? Like even like a Chris Weidman, he's been losing. He's been losing his last couple of fights or whatever. So it wouldn't be as impactful to hear the stuff from him right now, because he's on the losing side of things. But Demetrious Johnson, you can't say that. He's really a pound for pound champion in the UFC. 10 title defenses is not easy in the UFC, because there's so many ways you can get beat. You know what I mean? Guys like Conor McGregor, he already has a loss. He doesn't even have as many fights, and he already has a loss to Nate Diaz via submission. So it's not easy to stay undefeated. So let me know what you guys think. Demetrious Johnson, he pretty much went in on Ronda Rousey. I agree though. I don't like the way she conducted herself in that situation or circumstances after taking the loss. There's a loss, you lost. Grow up, like he said, deal with it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.